friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Allison with Baby Stepping to Freedom. Today I'm taking you on a little trip. Well, not really. I am going to talk about our trip to Nashville and our debt-free scream. We have officially done our debt-free scream, talked to Dave Ramsey, traveled to Nashville, cash flowed a vacation, and now I'm gonna do a little wrap up because it's kind of something that not everyone has the opportunity to do. And I know for me, I would have loved to hear what it was all like before I went. So I'm not gonna talk as much about the Nashville trip as I am just the logistics of our debt-free scream, but I'll give a little rundown of some of the things that we did while we were in Nashville and a couple recommendations. Before we get started, make sure, scroll down a little bit, press that red subscribe button, turn on the little bell notifications so you can get updated whenever I post a new video. So we went to Nashville for 4 nights. We stayed Saturday until Wednesday. We left early in the morning on Wednesday. This was over my spring break, which worked out very well. Aaron took off a couple days from work, and we were able to explore Nashville and see some sights before we did our debt-free scream. This trip was our first cash flowed vacation that we have ever had. Every other vacation we've taken has been on credit cards or some form of financing. And it felt really awesome to just have this money for this vacation where we got to do something that I think is pretty special. Also, having that money for the trip made us be a little more intentional in what we were doing on our trip. We budgeted money to give us freedom, but we didn't really overdo it. We were actually gonna stay in Nashville for 7 days, and we realized how expensive that was gonna be. So we cut our vacation back, and we discussed afterwards, we were pretty happy that we cut it shorter because we felt like we saw what we needed to see, we did what we needed to do, we ate what we needed to eat, and we saved some money by not staying a whole week. So some things that we were able to do while we were in Nashville, I think one of the coolest things that we did, well, in addition to our debt-free scream, but we got tickets to a trolley that went around the whole city of Nashville. It was a very touristy thing to do, but never being there before, I didn't know what was cool, what I needed to look for, so we got on a trolley. It was a hop-on, hop-off trolley that went around town, and it stopped at all different sites across Nashville. So that brought us to a few museums that we were able to go and see. First, we went to the Ryman Auditorium, which was super awesome. Honestly, I didn't even know what it was before we went there. I'd heard people talking about it, and I was like, sure, we'll go there. So that was really awesome. We also went to the Country Music Hall of Fame, which was cool, but like, I'm not really into old-timey country. I'm into like Taylor Swift and like Blake Shelton type of country. So half of the Country Music Hall of Fame was just meh, but then the other half was pretty cool for like all the modern singers. And then finally we went to the Johnny Cash Museum. I wouldn't say that I'm a real Johnny Cash fan, but it was definitely the best museum. They had some really awesome stuff. It was really cool to like see his story and see all this memorabilia. And I would highly recommend the Johnny Cash Museum over the other ones. After that, we went to the Jack Daniel's Distillery and we took a tour and did tastings of all different kinds of Jack Daniels. I personally hate whiskey. I think it's disgusting. I drink, but I just don't like whiskey. But it was really cool to see where they make all the Jack Daniels, where Jack Daniel did all of his work and just the history of it. So it was about an 1.5-hour drive from Nashville, but we had a rental car and it was a really nice scenic drive where we were able to spend a lot of time practicing our debt-free scream interview questions. So after we saw the sights around Nashville, we drove to Lynchburg to go through the Jack Daniel's Distillery. It was time for our debt-free scream. On April 2nd is when we did our debt-free scream. You can click this link to check out our debt-free scream and see what we talked to Dave about. Before we got there, well, actually just the whole trip, I was so nervous about this interview. I don't know why. I don't know, I talked to YouTube, I talked to Instagram, what's different? But I was so nervous that I was gonna say something wrong, Aaron was gonna say something wrong, we were gonna make fools of ourselves. I think that's what I was worried about. At least on here, I can edit things out. that's live, and there's thousands of people watching live, and it was scary. So I was nervous the entire trip for this interview, but that morning I was really having a hard time. So we got to Ramsey Solutions pretty early. We were supposed to get there 30 minutes before the scheduled start time for the show. We were in the first segment. So there's 3 segments every day of the Dave Ramsey show, each an hour long, and we were doing our debt-free scream in the first segment. So we got there before the show even started. We were supposed to get there at 12:30. We actually got there at 12. We had lots of time to just kind of chill. I don't know if it was better or worse that we got there early, but we were able to like drive around the parking lot, sit in the car for a second, drink some coffee, and just chill. It was also nice to get there that early because we got front row parking. If we would have got there at 12:30 when we were supposed to get there, we would have had to search around for parking. So if you're ever going on the Dave Ramsey show to do your debt-free scream, get there early and get some front row parking so you don't have to stress out about where you're gonna park. When we walked inside, we checked in at Martha's Place. That's their little bookstore, complimentary cafe. Complimentary, by the way, you get like free coffee drinks, not just like brew coffee, but they make you fancy coffee drinks for free, and cookies and water and tea and whatever else you want. So we checked in with the person who runs Martha's Place. Her name was Melissa, and she was super nice. She told us to just grab a seat. We were one of the first people that showed up for the show, and so we were able to get the seat that we wanted. So we just kind of reserved our area and waited for the show to start. Right before the show started, the coordinator, I don't really know what her official title is, her name is Kat, and she's the one that coordinates the people in the lobby area. She came up to us and she gave us just a quick rundown of what to expect during our debt-free scream, and I think one of her jobs is to really just like make you feel proud of what you've accomplished so you can just really share your story with Dave, because her pep talk almost made me cry. And she was telling us how there's all different kinds of debt-free screams, and you may think that people have told this story before, but no one has told your story, and there's someone out there that needs to hear your story. And I was like, just stop, because I'm gonna cry, and I'm trying really hard not to cry. Fortunately, I did not cry. Neither one of us cried, but I was worried I was gonna cry, especially when she was talking to me. So the first debt-free scream is about, well, it varies every show, but we started about 30 minutes into the show. So we were able to watch the show in progress before we did our debt-free scream. So then they cut to a commercial break, and Kat had everyone move tables and move off to the side, and they set up a camera directly in front of us where we put on our little headsets in the doorway. If you haven't watched a debt-free scream, it's a little weird, like you're standing in a doorway and you're connected to headsets. Also, the cord of the headset wasn't very long, and so you can kind of see in the video when I looked at Aaron, I like turned my head like this, because if I did this, it would have come off my head. Anyways, they need a little bit longer, maybe cordless headsets. We got all situated. As we were standing there with our headsets on, Rachel Cruz came out, started taking pictures with people, and I was like, this is so weird. There's like all these Dave Ramsey people. There's Dave Ramsey right there and all the Dave Ramsey people. And here we are just standing there with our headsets like waiting for it to start. So there's a TV in the lobby area where you can see what's happening on the show. So we could see the little debt-free scream intro thing. And then they pointed at us and we did the awkward like, hey, we're standing right here, wave at the very beginning. Then cut to Dave, he takes a caller. And I'm pretty sure that all the people in the back were like, no, no, no. And he was like, oh, oops, I messed up. I have to go talk to these people in the lobby. And so that was like an awkward, like, am I supposed to talk right now? Anyways, that started our interview. We had prepared ourselves for a lot more questions than what Dave actually asked. I think that he had to not ask as many questions as he normally does because I talked a little bit too much. But I feel all in all, I shared our story well, and by I mean we, but I shared like what happened 28 months ago. That's that was the majority of the story. It ended up being about a 10-minute interview with Dave. We told our story, answered the questions, talked about what inspired us and what changed and how it feels, and then we did the scream. If you haven't watched our debt-free scream, just the scream portion, I highly recommend it because it is hilarious. Aaron screamed so intensely. You just have to watch it. You have to. After the scream, they cut to Dave. We were able to take our headsets off and we kind of got situated. He did like a couple minutes of talking afterwards, and then he came out and shook our hands, took pictures, signed the things that we brought. We brought our debt-free chart and some books for him to sign, and that was about it. So everyone always asks, was Dave as nice as you expected? And it was like, what you saw in the debt-free scream is pretty much the extent of our interaction with Dave. It was very straight to business. They had a system, in and out. People were telling him where to go, and boom, it was over. So yes, he was nice, but there was not a lot of pleasantries beyond the interview that you saw. So all in all, I highly suggest, if you are working on baby step 2, or you're about to finish baby step 2, or you have already finished baby step 2 and paid off your debt, I highly suggest going to Nashville and doing your debt-free scream. It definitely felt like a door closing on this monumental thing that we accomplished. It was a super cool experience. It felt like really special to be there and to be able to do that and talk to Dave and have him just like say he's proud of us, even though he kind of yawned a couple times for our interview. He said he was proud of us and gave us high fives and cheered us on, and it was just a really cool moment. So if you're on your way to do your debt-free scream, hopefully this gives you a little bit of insight ahead of time that might help ease your nerves. If I would have known a little more about what it was going to look like, I think my nerves, no, I probably still would have been just as nervous, but still. I like information ahead of time, so hopefully this is helpful for you as well. If you have any other questions about our debt-free scream, please just leave them down below and I will answer whatever questions you have. I hope you liked this video and I will see you next time.